Womp womp womp. Perils of Man is an indie adventure game, developed by IF Studios and designed by Gene Mosey and Bill Tiller. Bill Tiller having made his name on a number of reasonably well-known LucasArts games, including the Monkey Island games. So Perils of Man comes with a few certain expectations before we even begin. The game itself is a 3D point-and-click adventure, and you basically follow a storyline involving the Abeling family, a family of inventors and scientists who are surrounded by mystery. You play Anna Abeling, the latest generation of the Abelings, and before Anna, her father, her grandfather, and her great-grandfather all disappeared in mysterious circumstances at the height of their careers. So essentially, you set out as Anna to solve the family mystery and work out why people keep buggering off. Now, the first thing you'll notice is the style of this game. This game has a really creepy Tim Burton-esque style to it. The characters are all a little puppet-like, and there's something a little bit off about the way they look, which definitely helps to build the tension while you're playing the game, as everything is very dark and creepy. Now, I did have a few issues with the camera here and there. This being a 3D point-and-click game, you really have to be confident that you're able to get where you're clicking. And there were occasions where the camera was a little bit awkward, it wasn't quite as straightforward as it could have been to click where I wanted to go, and occasionally I couldn't click on objects that I should have been able to click on. They would appear and disappear. So that was a bit of a shame, because in a world which is clearly meant to immerse you, it really did bring me out of the experience somewhat. Whenever I'd walk directly at the camera thinking maybe I could click on something, and end up kind of awkwardly standing around in the foreground. But otherwise the levels look great, they're really interesting. They could have just maybe done with being designed a little better, practically speaking. So the format generally kind of takes on the classic adventure point-and-click format. You wander around rooms, wander around environments, and click on everything that it is possible to click on. And doing this, you discover nice little bits and pieces of backstory, you collect various items in your inventory, which you can then combine to solve puzzles. So gameplay-wise, this will feel very, very familiar to anyone who's ever played a classic point-and-click adventure. And it has some of the obscure puzzle solutions that you expect from these kinds of games now. It's almost become a trait of the point-and-click adventure game that you really do have to kind of think outside the box when you're trying to solve some of these puzzles. Sometimes the solutions aren't as obvious as you'd like them to be. But for the most part, the puzzles in Perils of Man are interesting and just challenging enough to not get too annoying. Although there were a couple of occasions where I did find myself wandering around for quite a while before realising that I had to do some really obscure task to get through a level. Now, beyond the art style, which does stand out quite a lot, it's very clear that the developers were trying to really create an intriguing universe here, an intriguing world, which was driven by a very interesting story, and you really get the impression that they wanted this story to have some very deep and meaningful points in it. There are a couple of points where you feel like it's maybe actually going to do something, or tell you something that's really going to make you stop and think about things. But I did kind of get the feeling throughout that it just wasn't quite hitting the mark for me. The developers were also messing with time travel, so you will find yourself going to various different periods to solve various different mysteries, and whenever a story delves into time travel, it's stepping into treacherous territory. There have been a lot of examples of stories that didn't quite hold up because they decided to meddle with time, and as any fan of Star Trek or any TV series which messes with time will know, this is not always the safest method of storytelling. And it really is a shame that time is the one thing Perils of Man could really have done with more of. The game isn't that long, it took me around 3 or 4 hours to complete, and that was with taking my time over the puzzles, trying to explore every area of the game I possibly could. So the game isn't that long, and in my opinion, a story which is really trying to make you feel like you're experiencing something profound that's going to stay with you for days afterwards, should really maybe have been given more time to expand itself and to explore all of its different story arcs. As it is, with the game running at only around 3 hours, I felt like it was a little rushed, and that the major plot points where you're supposed to sit back and think, oh, and the major reveals didn't really hit home as well as they could have. And by the time I got to the end of the game, I did feel like the story just kind of petered out rather than hitting me with something profound and important to think about. Had the game been longer, it would have been nice to see some more character development and to see the story really padded out a little bit more. But unfortunately, it's a little too short, and I feel like it suffers for that reason. But all in all, this is still an experience I'd recommend. It's only short, so it won't take you long to experience, and it really is something that feels a little different to maybe some of the other point-and-click adventures out there. It doesn't quite do enough to stand up there with some of those renowned classic point-and-click adventures, but it does enough to make itself stand apart from those. If you enjoyed this review of Perils of Man, make sure to hit the like button down below and leave any comments if you have any feedback for me. And if you want to see more videos like this, then feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. And thank you very much for watching.
Opening, not Thomas.
Hi guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like, comment and subscribe. All that stuff really does help me out, and I'll hopefully see you next time on the Mews.